Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Maseko, and I am the girl that reads the Bible. So today we're going to be continuing with Genesis chapter 4 from the NKJV, and then reading it alongside the book of Jasher, which is still in chapter 1 here. And yeah, like I always say, do not recommend buying the Sifa. I recommend buying the apocryphal books that's in the description box. Thank you. So yeah, let me start. I'm gonna get straight into it. Genesis chapter 4. Now Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. And now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So it essentially says here that Adam and Eve bore a son first. Firstborn was Cain, and then later on bore Abel, the second son, right? And then it says here that Abel was a keeper of sheep, meaning he was a shepherd, and then Cain was a tiller of the ground, meaning he was a farmer. And then it says that Abel and Cain brought sacrifices to the Lord, and then the Lord respected Abel's offering and not Cain's offering. And then Cain became very angry. So he became angry, and his countenance fell, meaning it was visible on his face that he's not okay, that maybe he was jealous, maybe he was angry, maybe he was sad, but he could see it on his face that something is wrong, right? Then the Lord said to Cain, so the Lord said to Cain, why are you angry, and why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. So the Lord was asking Cain, why the face? Why the face? And then he continued, he asked Cain, why the face? And he continued to say that if you do good, then I will accept the good that you do. But if you do not do good, then I'm not going to accept the good that you do not do. In fact, if you do not do good, then sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, and you should rule over it. So essentially he's saying that if you do not do good, then sin is doing this to you, waiting for that moment for you to strike. It lays at the door, waiting for the moment to strike when everything is favorable for it to strike. And its desire is to do this. It's to pounce on you. It's to overcome you. It's to attack you, and you should rule over it. Meaning that we should be rulers over sin, because we must remember we are the ones who ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So now that we know this knowledge, we should also be able to choose good, right? We should be always to choose good and not evil. We should be able to not let anything overcome us that is of the evil side of things. We should be able to rule over this, because now we are the ones who know this thing, right? Which is, like I said, something that God did not want for us, but here we are, we now know. So now that we know, and because it's of our own doing, it means that we are also responsible for making sure that we rule over the evil part of things. We rule over sin, we rule over evil, right? Now Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. So here, simply put, the sin that the Lord was saying is waiting at the door that you should rule over, that was waiting for the right moment. Here it happened where Cain became so angry and just killed his brother. And yeah, Then the Lord said to Cain, where is your brother? Where is Abel, your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? So Cain had attitude instead and was like, when the Lord said, where is your brother? Cain was like, I don't know. Am I supposed to be the one guarding after my brother? And then the Lord said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. And when you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. So the Lord now is saying, Cain, what have you done? Because your brother's blood, its voice, it's rising to me, telling me that you killed it, right? You killed him. And now that you have done this thing, here are the curses that will come upon you. First of all, when you till the ground, it will no longer yield its strength. And considering that even with Adam, it was the same curse, now it is more for Cain because Cain killed his brother. And then another curse is that you shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on earth, meaning that he shall be someone who's always in hiding, someone who is in captivity, always running away, He shall not have a stable home where he settles, but he will just be going to and fro, running away, as someone who is in captivity. And Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day from your face of the ground. I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth. And it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me. So Cain responds to the Lord and says, this is too much for me. Surely you have literally just driven me out from your presence. So therefore, it's good. I will be hidden from your face, and I will be a fugitive and a vagabond, meaning I will go up and down, running away. And he also added and said, and it will happen that everyone who finds me will kill me. So it's clear that he was running away from death. People just wanted to kill him. So he was someone who was always running and hiding from people who wanted to kill him. And the Lord said to him, therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. So the Lord is always merciful, as I always say, guys. This is out of the Lord's mercy, knowing that whoever is going to kill Cain will have Cain's curse times sevenfold. And the Lord does not want anyone to be cursed times 7, even times 1, times 5, times 7, times 1,000, times 700, times 1,000,000, times infinity. The Lord does not want anyone to be cursed. So to help out, what he did was he set a mark on Cain so that no one could be able to kill him lest they get this curse as well. That is sevenfold. Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. So essentially, after Enoch was different from the presence of the Lord, he conceived, and then he started to build a city. So he named his son Enoch and named the city Enoch. And now it tells us that Enoch, the son of Cain, begot Irad. Then Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. Then Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the harp and the flute. And as for Zillah, she bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. Then Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my speech, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. So it says here that Lamech, which is like the descendant of Cain, got 2 wives, Ada and Zillah, and then Ada bore Jabal, who were the tribe or people that dwelt in tents and have livestock, and then he also bore Jubal, who were the people who were talented in playing the harp and the flute. The second wife, Zillah, bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and silver, so he could create things from metals. And then Tubal Cain had a sister, meaning Zillah also bore a daughter whose name was Nama. And then now Lamech said to his wife, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, wives of Lamech, hear my speech. I killed a man for wounding me, and a young man for hurting me. If Cain's curse was sevenfold, then that means mine is 70 times sevenfold. So I'm going to end here. Chapter 4 for Genesis has 2 more verses, just 2 more. However, I'm going to end here and I'm going to name this video Genesis 4, even though it doesn't have the 2 last verses in it. It's because in the book of Jasher, up to here, it's the rest of chapter 1. And then from verse 25 of Genesis 4, starts a new chapter corresponding to chapter 2 of the book of Jasher. So I just wanted to read them like that. Like I said, I am going to name it chapter 4, even though it's not the whole of chapter 4. It is missing the last 2 verses. So I am done with Genesis chapter 4. I'm now going to go to the Sifa, to the book of Jasher. We are still in chapter 1, right? Ooh. So in the book of Jasher, we are still in chapter 1. We read up to verse 12. So that's exactly where I'm going to start. Jasher chapter 1 is 12. And Adam knew his woman Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from the Lord. And the name of the other she called Abel, for she said, in vanity we come into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of sheep. And it was as the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to the Lord. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstlings of his flock from the fat thereof. And God turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven and consumed it. And unto Cain and his offering the Lord did not turn, he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Cain and Abel his brother went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger, and he said to him, What is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain and said unto him, What is there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep from which you have clothed yourself, and recompense me for the fruit and flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land, as you have said. And Cain said to his brother Abel, Surely if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? And Abel answered Cain, saying, Surely God, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause. He will require my blood from you, should you slay me. For the Lord is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to his wickedness, that he may do upon the earth. And now, if you should slay me here, surely God knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you did declare declared to do unto me this day? And when Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up and took his iron parts of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother and slew him. And Cain spilt the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this, Cain repented having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And the Lord knew what Cain had done to his brother. And the Lord appeared to Cain and said unto him, Where is Abel your brother that was with you? And Cain dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my God? Am I to God my brother? And the Lord said unto him, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother, and have dissembled before me, and did imagine in your heart that I saw you not, nor knew all your actions. But you did this thing, and did slay your brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed be you from the ground which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you did bury him. And it shall come to, and it shall come when, and it shall be and it shall be when you shall till it, it shall no more give you its strength, as in the beginning. For horns and thistles shall be the ground, shall the ground produce, and you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of your death. And at that time Cain went from the presence of the Lord, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land towards the east of Eden, he and all that belonged to him. And Cain knew his woman in those days, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Enoch, saying, In that time the Lord began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enoch, according to the name of his son. For in those days the Lord had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad begat Methujael, and Methujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech. So, as you can tell, guys, in this instance, the book of Jasher is more detailed than the book of Genesis. The book of Jasher answers also questions that we may have if we had just read the book of Genesis. And I'm just going to quickly and briefly go through all the details that we do not get from the book of Genesis, right? First thing, it says here, Adam and Eve had 2 sons and 3 daughters. So we know that in the book of Genesis, it mentions just Abel and Cain, but we find out in the book of Jasher that they also had 3 more daughters. Right, and it says here that Eve called the firstborn Cain, like it says in Genesis, because she got a man from God. And then it says here she called him Abel, for she said, in vanity we come into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And if you read Ecclesiastes, you know exactly what that means. And then it says that the boys grew up, and Adam gave them responsibilities, and he gave Cain to be a tiller of the ground, and he gave Abel to be the keeper of the sheep. So it says that it was time for what? Offering. It was time for offering. So therefore, it says here, let me read it. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to the Lord. So approximating meaning comparable, because some people will argue that just because it was fruits for Cain, that's why the Lord did not accept the offering. However, here it says comparable, meaning they were comparable. It's not about the nature of the offering, right? And then it says here that Cain bought the fruit of the ground, and Abel bought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And then it says that Abel put his offering on the altar, and then the Lord inclined, the Lord respected it, the Lord listened, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven, and it consumed the offering. So that's how we know now, and they knew that the offering was accepted and respected by the Lord. And then now Cain put his offering on the altar, but no fire came down. So that is how they knew, that is how we now know that the Lord did not listen to Cain's offering did not listen to Cain, nor did he respect Cain's offering. So it says here, the reason why the Lord consumed it, respected it, accepted it, the offering from Abel, it's because it was from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. That means the cream of the crop, the cream of the crop, like the best of the best. That's what Abel decided to offer unto the Lord. But then it says here, Cain bought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. So Cain took fruits, vegetables that were not so perfect. Maybe some of them were pierced, some of them had bruises, some of them were small, meaning they didn't grow, and some of them maybe were dull or something, but they were not the best of the best, meaning he kept the best of the best for himself so that he can eat them. But then the ones that were not so perfect, he decided to offer unto the Lord, so the Lord did not consume it with his fire from heaven. And then that's when Cain thought in his heart and in his mind that I'm going to kill Abel, because he became jealous, right? He became jealous and angry. So it says, after some time passed as well, it so happened that Abel and Cain went into the fields, right? So Cain was busy with his ground. He was tilling and plowing the ground. And then Abel was busy tending to his flock, feeding his flock, right? It says that he was feeding his flock. And then it came to pass that the flock that belongs to Abel started to step on the ground that Cain was plowing and tilling. And then Cain said, what is the beef between me and you that your flock should come and just step on the work that I'm doing over here, right? What is the beef between you that your flock should come and eat here where I'm busy, right? And then Cain was like, what is the beef between me and you, okay? That this is the same flock that feeds you meat. This is the same flock that gives forth wool so that you can have clothes, right? So therefore, if you're going to be finicky that my flock shouldn't come into your territory and step on and eat from around the ground that you're plowing, then you too give me the wool, that you've clothed yourself from my sheep, and also recompense me from the flesh, the meat that you ate from my sheep. Then I will take my flock and leave you alone, and leave you from your section that you are plowing and tilling, right? And then Cain said to his brother, if I kill you today, who will see? Look around, there's no one around us. No one around us. Who will see? Who will ask me if I kill you today? And then Cain answered his brother and said, the Lord, who has made the heaven and the earth, will avenge for my cause. He will require my blood from you should you kill me. The Lord, who is judge and arbiter, will ask, but the Lord is going to judge the wicked man according to his wickedness, right? And if you decide that you're going to kill me today, he knows your secret views. He knows your heart. He knows your thoughts. He knows everything that's going on within you. You cannot hide from him. Therefore, he will judge you for the evil which you declared unto me this day. So he will judge you for everything that you're doing and saying today. And then Cain heard these words and he became so angry to a point where he rose up and took the thing that he was using to plow and till the ground, and the iron part of it he smote his brother Abel, and Abel died. So when Abel died, his blood was on the ground, and it says here that the blood was streaming upon the earth before his flock. And Cain repented. Like, he was like, what did I do? What did I do? And he cried over his brother. He cried over his brother. And then after that, he dug a hole, and then he buried his brother, and then he covered his brother with the dirt. And then now it says that God knew what Cain had done. So God came to Cain and asked him, where is your brother that was with you? And Cain dissembled, meaning Cain hid. And I was like, am I a God of my brother? Like, am I a God of my brother? Am I the one who is responsible for my brother? And then the Lord said unto him, what have you done? The voice of your brother cries out unto me from the ground where you have slain him. Just like in Genesis, it says there, for you have slain your brother and have dissembled before me, and did imagine in your heart that I saw not, nor knew your action. So it says that you think I didn't see everything that you did, and you're hiding from me as if you don't know that I saw and I know everything. So after that's where and then he said, you killed your brother for naught, because he spoke rightly to you. So you killed your brother for nothing, because what he was saying to you makes sense. If your father gave you responsibility that your section will be the plowing and the tilting of the ground, and his section will be the flock, then it's for the whole family. That's why we're able to eat the meat, and we're also able to clothe ourselves as a family from the flock, but also we're able to eat from the ground that you are busy plowing. So if you're going to tell me that I shouldn't come near your work, that means you too shouldn't come near my work. That means the clothes that you're wearing, they shouldn't be on you, as well as the food and the meat that you've been eating this entire time. You shouldn't have been eating. You know what I mean? So that's what the Lord was saying, that you killed him for nothing, for what he said to you was correct. He was right. And then he cursed him when the curses that were in Genesis, that when he tilts the ground, it will no more give its strength as in the beginning. He will be fighting against thorns and thistles. And then he said that you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of death, where in Genesis it says he shall be a fugitive and a vagabond. All right. And then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord on the Lord. It says here that he was moving and wandering in the land towards the east of Eden with all that he had, all that belonged to him. And then it says here that Cain knew his woman in those days and conceived Enoch. For he was saying that it is better. Like, I'm not wandering so much. I'm not running away so much. The Lord has granted me rest and quiet in the earth. So I'm not wandering so as much as I did before. So what he did was he built a city, and he named the city after his son Enoch, right? So it says here that Enoch begot Irad begot Methujael begot Lamech, just like it says in Genesis. So this is the rest of chapter 1. So next I'm going to be starting with Jasher chapter 2, which starts with where I ended in Genesis chapter 4, and then we're going to be reading those two alongside each other. So the whole purpose and the entire reason why I do this is because I want people to see for themselves that the apocryphal books are important, that they give perspective and details as well. They fill in the gaps to paint a clearer and whole picture. They essentially answer some of our questions as well that we might have. And they should be read with the Bible. They should be read with the Bible, and they should be read alongside the normal Bible that we have. It is for our own benefits. It is for our own information. It is for our own betterment. It is for our own sake, essentially. It is for our own good. It is for our own good. So having said that, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Kindly go to the description box. You will find there a link to my backup channel, which is on Brighteon, and then there's also a link to the Apocrypha, which is a link to Amazon, where it's sold. Yeah, and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord bless you. Until the next video. Goodbye.